Well, hey there folks, welcome back once again to the Hop House. It's Eddie here, it's time for another beer review, and it's another virgin beer review, and we're going through beers that I picked up in the Lidl Craft Beer Festivals. Now if you're brand new to this channel, welcome along to the Hop House. We'll call that, so we like hoppy beer, we like house music, we're on the beer side. If you like either of those, or both, then give us one of those. Give us a like, share, subscribe to this channel if it's your cup of tea. Okay, so I've just done a beer that wasn't actually in the beer festival. It's become a regular in my Lidl, the Stewart Brewing Crazy Haze. Go check it out, have a look at the review. Brilliant beer, brilliant, loved it, especially for the mouthfeel. Next up, we are going back to the craft beer festivals. This is the one that was out, and the latest one in October. So if you've got a Lidl nearby, I know my Lidl, they still had a few cans kicking out left over. I suppose it depends on whether or not craft beer is drunk in your area. It can be quite regional. Maybe Telford's not that big on craft beer, but then I know people that do like it. So Lidl craft beers, they're brewed to a budget, they're put on the shelf at a budget, and some of them wow you and some of them are a bit meh. So maybe, you know, pure craft beer purists won't pick up the beers in Lidl, and I get that. But I'm a Yorkshireman. My missus says I'm tight with money. I say I like a bargain. You choose. Okay, coming on then, we're going over to the dark side. So I could really include this in a dark beer day. I might put it in a dark beer day playlist actually. And it's a style of beer. I was going to say genre then. We're not talking music. It's a style of beer that I've sort of struggled with because I don't always think it works. But when it does work, it's genius. I'll show you what we're going to do then. So it's this. It's from Loch Lomond Brewery, and it's called Painting Shadows. And as you can see, it's a black IPA, coming in at 5%. 5% ABV Black IPA, Painting Shadows from Loch Lomond Brewery. 440 millilitre can. There's the back. I shall read that myself in a bit. I picked up 2 cans of this. This was £1.79. 5% Black IPA. So Black IPAs, originally they were obviously a dark beer, brewed with roasted malt, but they tended to hide the roasted malt taste, and that's what wowed everyone about it. It looked like a stout, it looked like a porter or a mild, but it tasted like an IPA, so you had all that beautiful bitterness from American hops or Kiwi hops. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a stout. Now, personally I think the style's evolved over the years, and it has become like a hoppy stout. Me personally, I think the two styles have clashed, and sometimes I don't think American hops works with roasted malt. Personal opinion. I don't brew my own beer, I don't work in the industry, I'm just a fat lad in the kitchen, but when I expect American hops in an IPA, I expect either juice bombs like New England, or I expect bitterness like West Coast. I don't expect licorice. I don't mind plum or fig, but I expect that in like a ruby beer or a British hopped beer. I don't expect that in a black IPA. That's just my own personal expectations. As I say, get out into the glass. I'm looking forward to it, because the last 2 black IPAs I had were actually at this place, Tenby Brewing. Remember when I went there? I had one off camera, and then I reviewed their own black IPA, straight fresh out the tap, and it was stunning. And then the other one was from a Liverpool brewery. Is it Asvex? It was either Asvex or Love Lane. Sure, it was one of them 2. Or was it Glenafric? One of them 3. I'm narrowing it down to one of them 3. And that was the other one I had, and it blew my mind because it was like an IPA, but it was dark. So let's see what this is like. Put it out into the glass. This won't hold the whole can, but I'm not going to pour the whole can in anyway. That'll do. Now, beer in the glass. There is some light bleeding through it. It looks more like a Coca-Cola or a mild than a full-on boom stout. But it doesn't claim to be a stout. It claims to be a black IPA. It's certainly dark looking. It's got a lovely white head on it. Do a bit of lace division. Get that out of the way right now. This has been in my beer box, and I've only had it in my fridge not for very long because it's quite cold outside anyway in my beer box. The next beer I'm going to do is a stout, and I've left that out, so I've not put it in the fridge at all. It's been chilled enough in my beer box. Right, that's what it looks like. Dark Coca-Cola charcoaly colour, not necessarily black, but a really dark brown, ruby-esque sort of colour. Beigey head, it's not exactly white, but some great lacing. Love the lacing, and it's quite thick and fluffy. Right, let's put that into there, let's give it a whiff, see what we can sniff. Now, what was I saying about American hops don't work with roasted malt? That's a good blend. I can smell the roasted malt, like a little bit of a, not necessarily smoky, because it's not a stout or a porter, but I'm getting like a slight whiff of a cocoa, like dark chocolate cocoa or a espresso vibe, and then I'm getting pine. I am getting pine. So I take back everything I just said, that I don't think the two styles match, because that smells like it could blow my mind. So without further ado, I'm going to get it down my gullet. Bottoms up, down the hatch. That's weird. The smell and the taste are miles apart. Miles apart. It is a hoppy stout. It is. The roasted malt is very prominent. It's down the sides of the tongue, down the middle of the tongue. You're getting that slight sweetness, but real sort of coffee, roasted, toasty bread vibe. Down the sides of the tongue, you are getting some bitterness. It's there, and it's really there at the back end. But it's not IPA bitterness, it's not pine needle. It is fruity, dark fruits. Think of dark dried fruits. Raisiny. Figgy. Then the bitterness does hit you. The more you drink it, actually, the bitterness does come through, but it's a roasted malt bitterness. It's not pine. Whereas in the smell, you're getting that roasted malt vibe, but you're getting like a pine needle. You're getting the IPA aspect of it in the smell, but it's not in the taste. So I say the miles apart. The smell's over there, the taste's over there. It's weird. Excuse me. Oh gosh. I meant to talk then and a burp came out. I apologise. That was gross. Felt good though. Slightly off the mark for me. I think this is what black IPAs have become. So we can talk about IPAs in a broader sense, right? IPAs are everywhere. Everywhere sells IPAs. I mean, I'm wearing a t-shirt with probably one of the world's most famous IPAs on it. And it's the bastard son of what it used to be. Or the bastard cousin. Might not even be related. Who knows? But IPA has become a marketing term. IPA, if you don't know what IPAs are, it stands for India Pale Ale. And it was originally brewed at high strength, so it could be sent via ships in big barrels, talking times of the Empire. Marston's Old Empire, a great example of an old school IPA. from a traditional brewer, in my opinion. So these beers were brewed at high strength, loads of hops shoved in there, so it could survive a boat journey to go from the UK to India, to where the Empire troops were over in India. Probably a pretty dismal time in terms of colonisation in the UK's history, but for brewing, there was a time when this batch of beer was made and a style was formed many years ago, all those years ago. Then the traditional brewers got hold of it, the term IPA, but they brewed it. People in the UK weren't used to big strength beers, so they started brewing. For example, Green King IPA is 3.6% ABV. Never an IPA. But they started brewing stuff at that strength. The Americans got hold of it. They liked the idea behind IPA. Then, of course, the hops that they brew, that they produce, the hops they brew, the hops they grow, sorry. The hops they produce, the hops they grow were totally different to anything we could do. Hence, American IPA was born and it became a thing. So you look at Jaipur, things like Oakham Citra, things that really made you go wow. Punk IPA when it first came out, I personally didn't like it, but I was totally on a different journey than to where I am now with my beer. The new version is okay, I don't mind it, but the 6% version when I first tried it was like Christ alive, and if that would be around now, I'd love to try it, I really would. So that's a little IPA history there. It's gone off on a tangent again, as I tend to do, and so bringing it back in. So that's IPA for you. And I think it's become a marketing tool. So there's so many companies now that use IPA, because those three letters will bring in the money. They'll bring in the Wonga. So Black IPA, I just think it is a hoppy stout. I don't doubt that they've used some American hops, but I think the amalgamation with roasted malt and American hops changes the taste. Changes the taste from pine needle, grapefruit bitterness into raisiny, sultanery, fruit cakey, date, fig, prune. And that's why I don't think it works, personally for me, because I don't really like fruitcake, and I can't stand, and I've said this on loads of videos, just a personal thing, but I can't stand licorice. And if anything's licorice in my mouth, I'm like, get it out, get it out. So that's why personally I don't think the two combine. Now this beer, as a beer, I know another beer reviewer has sort of said something similar. He doesn't think it's a black IPA, it's more of a hoppy stout, and I'll agree with him. It's nice, it's drinkable, it's pleasant, because basically it's not licorice. If it was licorice, it'd be going down the sink. But to me it's not. The two beers that I had at Tenby, at the Tap and Tan in Tenby, Tenby's own and the, I'm sure it was Azvex, it was either Azvex or Love Lane, their black IPA blew my mind, because there was it was almost like they brewed it and the top half was roasted malt and the bottom half was pine needle, and they didn't allow the two to combine to turn into figgy, pruny, blah 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 blah. I'm like Joey speaking French in Friends. Whereas this, it has combined, it's turned the hops from pine needle, grapefruit, citrus to fig, prune, raisiny, sultanery, dark dry fruits. But in the smell, you're still getting roasted malt and you're still getting pine. So it's weird how in the aroma it's still there, but in the taste it's not. That's how it's confused me. So it hasn't blown my mind, it's just confused me that the smell is different to the taste. That's the second beer this year that's done that. I think the other one was, I think it was a Salopian one. Was it a Salopian one? And I smelt it and the taste was completely different and it blew my mind. Maybe not blew my mind, confused me. Confused.com. Right, have a quick read of this because I've been waffling on for ages and I've gone off on a tangent. I did in my last review as well. Went all political, Christ alive. Right, Iconic Beers, Iconic Beauty, Black IPA, Centennial, Chinook and Citra. So 3 of the 5 sea hops. Tropical and pine notes in the aroma, stone and citrus fruits flavour, bittersweet finish. Unfiltered for maximum flavour, keep chilled and drink fresh. Pine notes in the aroma, fully agree with, because they're there. Stone and citrus fruits flavour, not getting any citrus fruits in the citrus flutes, not getting any citrus fruits in the flavour. I'm getting roasted malt bitterness, which is nice. Dry bready, it's toasted dry bread down the middle of the tongue, roasted malt bitterness down the sides, and then not stone fruits, but dried dark fruit, so sultanery, raisiny, prune, fig, that sort of thing. What do I rate it? I'll give it a thumbs up, I will, because it's a beer that I'll buy. I've got another can of it for a start, but if I saw it again, yeah, I'd buy it again, but similar to what that other beer reviewer said, I wouldn't say it's a black IPA, I'd say it's more a dark, stouty, sort of jobby beer. Stouty, jobby beer. That's a brilliant, brilliant analysis. Christ alive. So Loch Lomond then. Painting Shadows. Thumbs up from me. It's okay. It's good. I like it. It's just not a black IPA. But I've got to take into account that I like the smell, and it smelled like an IPA. So yeah, thumbs up from me. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you again for another beer review right here on the Hop House. Ciao for now.